Guys, on the latest edition of War Week Boxing with Coach James Gogue, we get his analysis and his grade of Jaron Ennis' performance over David Avanesyan last night in Philly, PA. All this and more on the latest edition of War Week Boxing with Coach James Gogue. Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio with five-decade fight trainer, Coach James Gogue. Guys, welcome. Happy Sunday to all of you guys. And I tell you what, a lot of crazy things happening in this country, but one thing that remains consistent is the sport of boxing. You can always rely on the sport of boxing, guys, to take our troubles, at least our mind away. Have a nice 2 or 3 hour vacation. And guys, we're about to experience an hour vacation right now with our dear friend, the incomparable Coach James Gogue. James, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing good. Kind of like underwhelming this week in boxing, really not really exciting fights. It's pretty much dreadful, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I saw the top rank card. I saw the what's it called? I saw the that Boots fight. That was it, and I kind of expected that. That guy had no. That guy was just what do you call it? A welcoming opponent for his Boots' homecoming and everything. And they did like 14,000, which is good. You know what I mean? Good. Yep. It was good for Jaron.
14-6. Yep.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, we're going to go over everything, guys. We're going to go over Jaron Ennis, obviously, and we're going to pick Gogue's brain and see what he thinks of potential matchups at 54 versus Bud Crawford and Vergil Ortiz Jr. I'll tell you what, but that's going to be a little bit later on the show. But last night, Gogue, do you want to start while we're waiting for more members in the chat? Do you want to go over the top rank card first?
Yeah, go ahead. If I can remember,
Muratalla. I'll set the table for it. And obviously, guys, Janabek Ali Manala was supposed to be in the main event, but he passed out on Thursday evening before the day of the weigh-in. And so he was scratched from the card for safety purposes, for a precaution, and for liability for the State Athletic Commission in Nevada. But Gogue, this sheds a spotlight on a very underlying problem in boxing. Now, obviously, you and I both know that for liability purposes, State Athletic Commission started pushing back the time of the actual weigh-in to early in the morning, 9 or 10 a.m. But this created another problem now, didn't it?
Yeah. Fighters, what do you call it? Trying to do, what do you call it? Extreme measures, going through extreme measures to make weight, which causes the dehydration of their body to shut down and everything. Okay. Was it the day before weigh-ins? Then they changed the weigh-in times from the afternoons to early morning. So the fighters have more time to recover and everything. Yeah. So the fighters are trying to, what do you call it? I don't not circumvent the rules. Circumvent the rules is something like what Ryan Garcia did, knowing he can't make weight, so he purposely came in overweight. Okay, so he wouldn't have to struggle and be weak the next day. I'm talking about fighters are, what do you call it, testing their limits on how. No, they're going over their limits on how far they could go, and it's really hurting their body more than helping them and everything. So I always say, Joe, if you have a problem making weight and you're really killing yourself and dehydrating yourself, hey, move up. Go to the weight class where you're comfortable, where you're going to beat the strongest at. Okay? Don't try to, what do you call it? Push your body beyond the limits, okay, to the point of dehydration where it's going to affect you and where it's going to affect your performance. You're not going to perform at your best, okay? Or in extreme situations like this, you faint, okay? You faint, and because of severe dehydration, and they cancel your fight. It happened to Haney too, okay? But anyway, we'll talk about that. It happened to Haney too. But anyway,
so Janabek, his title defense of his 2 titles, right, and 160 pounds. Well, it was scratched from the main event, and obviously he's going to have to think long and hard about where he's going to be competing. So as a result, thrust into the main event was Raymond Muratalla, red hot prospect at 135 pounds, but he fought a very problematic, slippery, dare I say, slippery opponent in Tevin Farmer, a guy who's now a part-time fighter. And, well, how did he look, Gogue?
Every time you fight a style like Tevin Farmer, you're not going to look good, okay? It's just the stuff he does, you know what I mean? As soon as you get in range, he'll smother you and tie you up. He makes it an ugly fight, okay? He makes it an ugly fight. He's more there to survive than win, okay?
Yep.
It's just, and Muratalla, he just had a problem in getting the rhythm, getting his offense into rhythm. His timing and everything. He couldn't get off like he wanted to, because when he got the range he wanted to, the other guy would smother him and hold him a lot and everything. It was a very not appealing fight, not entertaining. It was ugly. I didn't like it at all, man. It was just a bad style matchup. It was good, to have a fight a former champion and put it on your resume on your way up. Okay, but that's about it, man. It was the matchup wasn't conducive for a good television fight. See, man, when you're putting on good TV fights, man. Top Rank's number one main responsibility, fiduciary duty, is to put on fights that are gonna be smoking. Get the fans tuning in to get excited. Okay. To talk about it the next day, to talk about it the next week. And it was a dud, man. It was a dud. It was just a total dud, man. I didn't like it at all. I just had a feeling. And when it's going into this fight, I said, Farmer, part-time fighter, he's not going to try to win. He's going to try to survive and everything. And Muratalla, you can see his comfort level in fighting a guy like that, man. Not knowing how to prevent him from tying him up. Not knowing how to prevent him from smothering him, taking a half step back or a step back out of range to get that distance, to put the combinations together and all that stuff, man. You know what I mean? Every time he missed, what's his name slipped and smothered him, so he couldn't get off another combination. Okay, it was just what do you call it? It wasn't appealing at all, man. And a lot of people are starting to talk bad about Muratalla. He hasn't looked good in his last 2 fights. So, and when you fight on TV, Joe, winning ain't good enough. You got to look good, or people are going to start talking bad about you. So,
that's absolutely right.
And if he wants to, what do you call it? Create that buzz, that momentum to get a title shot. You gotta, what do you call it? Create that demand for you from the fans. Like, oh man, that guy needs to fight for the title, man. You know what I mean? He's ready for a title fight. You know what I mean? And then when you go out there and lay an egg, oh Jesus, you know what I mean? It doesn't create that buzz you need to get that title fight. You got to go out there and look impressive. And when you get in these situations and you're especially him. You get these rare situations to fight on TV, and you don't impress. A lot of people start talking about you and everything. Who did he fight his last fight? That was a dud. I just remember I wasn't impressed.
No. I look. I'm not sure, and that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I know.
Because look, we would have remembered if it was worth remembering.
Yeah. I don't remember who he fought his last fight, man. He went the distance too, huh?
I'll look it up right now. It was Jolsani Dongeni from Nigeria. Is that it?
I don't know, man. I don't remember. I don't even remember.
From South Africa. I'm sorry. From South Africa.
Guess what, Joe? I didn't remember the fight. I forgot about it. Okay, so
yeah, we forgot about it in T-minus 2 seconds, right?
Yeah, you got.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in this situation before, man. When you got a good prospect coming up, man, you got to impress, or people start talking about you. They start talking about you. It ain't good. But if you want to create that hype, that buzz, you better look good. You better look spectacular. You know what I mean? So. But anyway,
it really stinks. In the co-main event of Haney versus Lomachenko, he really made a big splash and a big impression, knocking out Eremia Nakatila in just 2 rounds, and everyone was talking about him. Yeah, they were in the top 10 of everyone's list at 135, and arguably one of the most talented and rich divisions in boxing. And then since then, he stopped Diego Torres in 8 rounds, and then he went the distance very underwhelmingly in his last 2 fights. And so the buzz is officially gone surrounding Raymond Muratalla. And what does he have to do, Gogue? And does he have to sit down with Brad Goodman and say, hey, throw me a bone, put me in the ring with someone who's going to be there, or is this by design, Gogue?
I don't know. Honestly, Joe, if I'm the matchmaker, hey, man, you can't have easy fights no more, man. And, you got to fight good fighters, but get a better style matchup. A guy that's going to make him a guy that can stand there and fight. That's going to make him look good. Okay. But, you want a guy also a good man. But the thing is, these motherfuckers want a lot of money now. You know what I mean? I don't know if Top Rank's willing to pay that type of money. So, it's not only Top Rank or Brad or his opponents wanting a lot of money and everything. So Top Rank Brad, he's a Hall of Famer. He'll figure it out, man, what they need. But it's more getting the right guy, the right type of style that's going to make him look good. Okay, this guy right here, he had former world champion, and that's good to have on your resume. Don Chargan used to do that a lot. Get guys that are former world champions and fight his upcoming contenders or prospects, like Loreto Garza, the Don's WBA champion, 140 pounds coming up. He fought 4 or 5 world champions. He fought Choo Brown, Harry Arroyo, Joe Manley, and there's some others he fought. God, I can't remember. There's some others he fought. I can't remember. Them are the 3 I remember. Yeah, he fought 3 former world champions coming up, and he knocked them all out. Yeah. And that was off TV on club shows. These were back in the days, man. There was, Don didn't do, he didn't get a lot of TV dates. Okay. These were shows that were not televised. Okay. And it was, money was generated through ticket sales. And he brought them guys in, like Choo Brown, the former IBF lightweight champ. That was Russell Pelson's guy. Then he brought Harry Arroyo, the former 140-pound champion. Then he brought Joe Manley, good puncher. And Loreto stopped him. Loreto, it was a good competitive technical chess match. But, until Loreto caught him with the left hook right hand, and that was it. Then a few others, man. He had to fight the number 1 contender, Frankie Warren. There's another guy, I can't remember, man. That was a long time ago. But that's the kind of the way Don Chargan seasoned his fighters back then, having, former world champions to get on your resume. And, Top Rank tried that last night. But, hey, that, when you fight a guy that goes in there, defensive minding, not willing to trade, wanting more to survive, to go the distance, That's going to make a very ugly, unappealing fight to people watching. I mean, come on, man. I know, man. I watch boxing. I'm like, oh, this is terrible, man. This is not entertaining. Yeah.
No, it
Nah.
wasn't entertaining in the slightest. It was very uncomfortable to watch,
Look,
and
Joe,
it started to piss me off.
Joe, you gotta have good fights on TV, man, to what do you call it? To get people tuned in and everything. Right now, boxing, nobody gives a shit about boxing. Okay, nobody tunes the fuck into these shows. I mean, honestly, look at the ratings. That's all you got to know. Everybody tunes into UFC, but not boxing.
Yep. Well, definitely in California, and we're going to talk all about that. Lagging ticket sales from Crawford Madrimov in LA. We're going to talk about all of that a little bit later as well. But guys, well, yeah, we're going to get your opinion on that, because one reason why we love to pick the brain of Coach Gogue, not only does he know about everything that goes on in the ring, he knows about everything that goes on outside of the ring as well, from the business perspective. And he's been a manager, he's been a matchmaker, he's been a promoter. Like, he's done it all, guys. So we're going to pick the brain of Coach Gogue on all of this. But right now, guys, let's say hello to our dear friends in the chat. First up, Julio Martinez. Welcome to the show, sir. He goes, are you still going to say chingao? I remember you said you weren't going to cuss anymore. No, I'm going to leave that to Gogue. Just was wondering about that. Anyways, love the channel. We love you too, brother. And thank you for always supporting Coach Gogue and War Week Boxing. And I'm going to definitely try to cut down. That's for sure. Yeah. But Jesus M, welcome to the show, sir. Saludos, Coach. Ennis needs to unify ASAP. No more stay busy bouts, but that's not up to him, is it, Gogue?
Man, that's in a perfect world. Yeah. Fight. Who is, I don't even know who these motherfucking champions are. Is it Mario Barrios is one?
Mario Barrios, he's currently making a deal with Manny Pacquiao at age 45 to defend his WBC title. Stanonis just signed a 3-fight deal with PBC, the broke PBC. And then more than likely, he's going to be competing on the undercard of Tank versus Vasil Lomachenko in November at the MGM Grand, guys, or the T-Mobile Arena. They haven't determined that yet. Jesus M also says, disappointed Raymond Muratalla's performance. But look, in a perfect world, once again, does Eddie have a good working relationship with Al Heyman? I know Al Heyman is hurting for TV dates. And doesn't have any money. That's why he's forced to work with ESPN and Bob Arum again. But if he can help it, can you see Al Heyman working with Eddie Hearn? No, guys. So once again, that's Mario Barrios. That's Stanonis. And then you've got Norman Jr., who is the latest top-ranked champion, who did a great job in his last fight, winning the vacant WBO title. That's the only one I see possibly Jaron Boots Ennis unifying with. What's the possibility of that happening, Coach Gogue? Coach, can you hear me, sir? Well, it looks like Coach Goge's on mute.
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, sir.
Like I said, it's the way boxing is now. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, look.
The welterweight division is a joke if you think about it. There ain't no really good fighters. You know what I mean? Really, you got Mario Barrios as a fucking champion. Give me a fucking break.
Definitely not many big money makers. And once again, since the big money men at 147 pounds either retired or moved up, it's slim pickings at 47. So once again, you're looking at not only trying to unify, but the amount of money that Jaron Boots Ennis just received for fighting David Avanesyan, which was over $3 million.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So how much do you think it's going to take? How much of DAZN's money do you think it's going to take to put together a possible unification bout at 47?
I don't know, and I don't care. It's gonna the way these motherfuckers are nowadays. They're gonna overprice themselves. You know what I mean,
That's it, guys. Look, Eddie Hearn at yesterday's press conference. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get to that in a second. One more. Adam Hurley, welcome to the show, sir. And he says, for boxing to gain more popularity, there needs to be more popular fights, like Canelo versus Benavidez or Tank versus Shakur.
yeah.
Is Tank versus Shakur more popular than Tank versus Lomachenko at this time?
Lomachenko, man. Yeah, because
Yep,
Shakir,
that's
like I
it.
said, if you don't impress in
Only
your fight,
popular among the diehards.
if you don't impress or excite people in your fights, man, yeah, they don't give a shit if you got a belt. I mean,
Best of luck. Best of luck. And Jose Barrera, welcome to the show, sir. Saludos, coach. Thank you for supporting the coach on this day, sir. And I tell you, so let's go. Before we talk about post-fight comments by Eddie Hearn, once again, this guy is a used car salesman and talks a very good game, but can he back it up? Is it all just lip service? We'll get the thoughts of Gogue after this. But guys, let's fast forward. Well, hold on. Do you want to talk about Ruben Villa getting his ass whooped in the co-main event? Because I really like Ruben Villa, but you know what?
man, that guy was getting hit by that left hand all night. He had no defense against that left hand. His opponent, because the opponent was southpaw, so he was getting hit by that straight left hand. Ruben's Villa's lead hand, his right hand was low, and he never, you know what I mean. He never made a defensive adjustment, and quit eliminated it or neutralized that left hand. Okay. Me, cross block. I would have, cross block. I'm not on camera, but I would have used that cross block technique. You know what I mean? I learned it back in the days from George Benton. Where where you roll, and you keep your hand right on the side of your face with your glove open and catch that left hand. And he didn't. He had no defense for that straight left hand. He kept on getting hit by that, man. And you know what, Joe? It comes down to this, man. If you're not taught in the gym, you're not going to do it in the fight. Okay.
That's right.
If you're not taught in the gym and you don't execute it in the gym in your preparation, you're not going to do it in the fight. Okay. He was consistently getting hit by that left hand or the right hook. You know what I mean? More the left hand. It was so obvious, man. That guy was just coming right down the middle. He had his lead hand low, and you know what I mean? He didn't roll with the punch. Yep. All he didn't catch it. A cross block catch. He didn't have his lead left hand up to block it, or he didn't step back out of range. You know what I mean? Or he didn't slip it. Stuff like that, Joe. There's many forms of defense. Okay, there's many forms of defense, man. You got in a fight. You got to find. You got to find the one that's going to work. Guys hitting you with that straight left hand. Look, but the thing is, you see that in the gym, man. You sparring and you see your fighter getting hit with a certain punch. Well, you make that defensive adjustment. You know what I mean? Yep. There's many ways you can make a defensive adjustments. One is the one, like I said, if you're going to have that lead hand low, cross block, catch it with the, with your backhand, your left hand with the glove open, and like Shakur does. He does that good. And that'll prevent you. That'll prevent you from getting hit, Joe. That'll prevent you getting hit. And the thing is, that'll keep him in the fight. He's not getting hit by it. Now he can start doing what he needs to do, which he needed to use his jab more. Okay, he used it on occasion. He used it effectively, and he wasn't putting his combinations together. He got there with throwing one punch, two punches. He wasn't putting 4, 5, 6 punch combinations together. You know what I mean? Man, the kid, you can see the kid he has the ability to do that, but you're not doing it in the gym. You're not going to do it in the fight.
And to support everything that Gogue is saying, his corner really didn't know what to tell him. Did you hear what the corner was telling him?
No, I didn't hear him. I didn't hear.
Exactly.
No, I didn't hear it. I'm in Mexico, so I don't have access to what they say in the corner.
Well, I tell you what, it was obvious that they had no idea how to rectify any of the shortcomings that he was experiencing in the ring. So once again, sorry guys, But Coach Gogue is absolutely right in his assessment. And so we'll move to the main event in Philly in front of a packed house, well, almost a packed house, 14,600 fans. Very good showing for Jaron Boots Ennis in his debut, promotional debut with Matchroom Sports, and he took care of business. Gogie, what's your grade on Jaron Boots Ennis's performance last night in stopping or forcing him to quit with a broken jaw, David Avanesyan?
It was just a fucking tune-up. That's all, man. That's all you could say it was, man. It was non-competitive. He did get hit. Uh, when he was putting that pressure, he stood right in front of him. He did get hit a few times on counters, okay, or the guy snuck some punches in to catch him and everything. But man, the guy was a non-threat to win this fight. Come on, you seen what Crawford did to him? Tough guy, durable, right in front of you. Perfect opponent to make you look good, okay. And it was good. Boots hadn't fought in a long time, and when you don't fight in a long time, that rust builds up. So it's good to get the rust off. But he needs to, get back in the ring. By the end of the year. He don't need another year off and everything. Because look, man, he brought a good crowd. Well, when you make a hit, like Don Chargan says, when you make a hit at the gate, come back. Don't wait another fucking year and people forget about you. Okay, and come back. Because he was landing some hard shots on that motherfucker. I give that guy credit. He's taking some hard shots, and he was trying. Okay, but he was just physically overmatched, talent wise, and it was just a perfect opponent for Boots to come back home, to start creating that buzz. Now they could grow off this, man. They had 14-4. Next time they bring in a better opponent, 16, 17,000. You know what I mean? And you're talking about the biggest draws since Russell was doing fights in the 70s. When he had the middleweights, Benny Briscoe and Boogaloo Watts, and when Hagler came into town and fought over there. Yeah, you know what I mean? You're talking about a kid in the last over 40 years that put more asses in the seats than anybody else. Danny Garcia, he could have been a big draw over there, but PBC don't know what the fuck they're doing. They didn't know how to turn him into a big star over there. You know what I mean? Who else? Danny Garcia pretty much was the guy to do it. Okay, and but when you don't fight in your hometown, people ain't gonna support you. When you try to go back and fight in your hometown, the support ain't gonna be there because you didn't grow up developing a fan base. Okay, I seen that happen all the time, man. Guys don't fight in their home. They should fight in their hometown, and they don't do it. And when they come back, they're way established in their career, and they expect the fans to come out. It doesn't work like that. You gotta build a fan base from the grassroots when you're in the 4s, the 6s, the 8s. Okay, yeah, not when you get in the 10-round stage and all of a sudden you come back. Nah, it doesn't happen like that. But Boots, you know what I mean? Philly's such a great fight town, probably the number one fight town in America for African Americans. They support you. They're what do you call it? They're very knowledgeable. They're like the Mexicans. They're very knowledgeable and they're hungry and they ain't scared to buy tickets, man. I fought there a few times, man. I was like, I walk around the arena after the fight, man, and people are all looking at me, man. I'm like, then they come talking to me, man. Hey, you're the coach. Yeah, that coach. Yeah. Then they come talk to me about boxing. I'm like, man, these are some hungry fight fans, man. And they're not scared to buy tickets, man. You know what I mean? They say black fighters can't draw, not in Philly. They if you got they have a history of a boxing tradition in that town. And Boots Ennis could, what do you call it? He could be the greatest draw in the history of Philly. All you got to do is, like I said, go back over there. Yeah. Then once you do that, the casinos across a bridge. I think that bridge, I can't. George Washington Bridge. I can't remember the name of it. That goes into Atlantic City where all the casinos are. They're going to want you to fight over there, and they're going to be willing to put up. They're going to be willing to put up some money, fighting at the boardwalk over there, which we fought at. It's a great atmosphere, and the best time to fight in Philly, Joe, or Atlantic City is in the summertime, man. It's just the beach, boardwalk, and you know what I mean. A lot of tourists out there. You know, people taking vacations. You know, the worst time to fight is in the wintertime because it's effing cold. But people still support you. And Boots, let me tell you, man. Like I said last week on the show, this boy, you know, he has the ability, superstar talent, charisma. You know what I mean? To be that man. Now, Eddie, he's a smart guy. He knows how to build local guys up because he did it in England. Okay, he understands. And hey, it was a good. Hey, Joe, that was his first show there. 14,000. Man, come back. If Eddie was smart, he'll do a Don Chargan and come back before the year's up, like in November.
And there it is. And there it is. I tell you what, though, post fight, Turkey Al Sheikh made it to Twitter, and he said, "You know what? After looking at Jaron Ennis, I would love to put together Bud Crawford versus Jaron Boots Ennis." He didn't specify. Now, honestly, that's an American matchup. But wherever the benefactor wants the fight, that's where the fight's going to be. Now, that's beside the point, and that's going to be all worked out. But, Gogue, how does Jaron Boots Ennis fare against Terrence Crawford at 154 pounds, assuming, now this is a big if, assuming that Bud Crawford makes it past Israel Madrimov on August 3rd?
Joe, you're talking about a kid that's just just became welterweight champion, man. You know what I mean? And he's gonna have to move up in weight. Unless the money is good, he'll take that chance. I mean, the money's gonna have to be real fucking good, man. You know what I mean? For them to fight each other, man. Right now, I think the fight needs to be built up. He needs to go back, do another make another big hit over there, and go back again and make a bigger hit. And he's gonna create that buzz for that matchup. Then it makes sense. You know what I mean? To move up in weight.
That is true.
But not now, man. It's too early, man. It needs to be, what do you call it? Marinated, like Mr. Aram used to always say, marinate the fight. You know what I mean? Get it bigger.
Look, guys.
I don't know what they have, Joe. They wherever they have this fight, they're probably going to go to the highest bidder. You know, AC. That would be a great fight in AC, but they're going to have to give Crawford a lot of money to go into Boots' backyard. Vegas. This is not a Vegas fight, man.
Not yet,
I don't
anyway.
think it is. Yeah,
nope,
not yet.
Not yet. Well, look, I'm going to ask you this. Should Matchroom Sport and Eddie Hearn, should they bring him back in 2 months with the Joe Louis mentality and the Bum of the Month Club just to get him in front of people?
I already said that, Joe. You know, when you make a big hit at the gate, like Don Chargan says, you strike when the kettle's hot, and the kettle's hot now. You should come back not November. Yeah, you know, this fight didn't take a lot out of him. He didn't take a lot of punishment. Come back in November, which is what, August, September, October. Yeah, 3 months away. Yeah, come back, man. Yeah. Man, I've been around this shit long enough, man. When he has something hot, I've been around it. Whether it's on a small show or a big show, you know, if it does good at the gate, he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back, man. I remember I used to help out Don with shows in Texas, you know, when he was doing shows up here on Telefuture. And Thomas Villa was one of the guys, you know, a guy that, you know, lower level guy, but he drew good in his hometown. When he did good at the gate that one time, I didn't even have to tell Don. He already made that decision to come back a few months later and everything, you know, because you know, he said, "Oh shit, we did this much." He did like over a $65,000 gate first fight there, which is good for a small club show, you know. And he goes, he knew to come back in a few months. And that's what, you know, a smart promoter does that. You know, a real old school promoter does that. These motherfuckers nowadays, I don't know where their fucking head is at, man. You know, what they do. You know what I mean? But a lot of it has to do with the fighters too. You know what I mean? You know, promoters, you know, maybe, you know, they got two fights minimum for the fighters in their budget. Okay. It's all about the budget. You know what I mean? And if they ain't got the money to do it, they can't do the fight. That's what Eddie is, man. You know, I don't know what the budget for Eddie is for Boots this year. Maybe just one fight this year. But if he was smart, me personally, If he has to take less money, I'd do it just to build his brand up. You know, you're investing in yourself. But he won't do it, man. The motherfuckers nowadays, oh, I'm not taking less than the money I made. You know what I mean? But if you were smart, you know, get the gate money and take a lesser. I don't know what his contract is. I don't know what the budget is at a Matchroom, but take a less minimum. I'd do it, man. And, you know, just get the right opponent to build that buzz to create, to create that excitement, so you could get this big fight with Crawford next year. Right now, that fight don't mean shit unless Turkey's willing to what's his name? Turkey is willing to, he's willing to put up that money. But right now, it's not marinated enough. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's gonna have to come up with a lot of money, man. I wonder how much staying power does he have, man, in boxing, man? He's just dishing out money left and right, and and no money is coming back. Joe. I mean, I've seen this shit happen before, man. You know, there's not a right now. It's like he has a checking account, an unlimited checking account, but them days don't last long in boxing unless you start bringing some revenue in. You know what I mean?
Yep. And guys, the biggest red flag that he's concerned with money coming back. And once again, right now, he's subscribing to the ideology of Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner. If we build it, they will come. Well, that's not the case. At least not in boxing. Okay. You've got to cultivate that attraction. And so far, Crawford versus Madrimov in LA in a 22,000 seat venue has not even sold 11,000 tickets.
I'm surprised they did that many. I thought they would probably do 5. Yeah.
Well,
so they did 11,
nice, brother. No, they haven't done 11, and it's more like 9.
Well, still, when's the fight anyway, Joe?
August 3rd, couple weeks.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, man, it's not an LA matchup, man. LA, man, it's got to be regional, man. You know, you put the fights. You put the fights that make sense. And that fight, you know, I mean, Crawford, you know, I mean, and that Madrimov, nobody knows who the fuck he is. So it's not a matchup that, you know, that makes sense in LA. You know, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska, but not in fucking LA.
No, that's absolutely right. And once again, guys, I found out the hard way by working with a promoter in California, just soliciting some sponsorship for him. And I found out the hard way that is become UFC country. Like, it's crazy. Even bars, even breweries are like, well, that's not a good fit. We don't even show boxing at our events, at our establishments.
Unless you're Nick Diaz and that Madrigal, they'll show
it. Once again, those are 2 big UFC names.
Yep.
And that had a big hit in Anaheim, California last weekend, selling over 18,000 tickets. This is the best fighter in boxing. But does anyone care? Once again, that's a big problem. And this tells me everything, Coach. If Turkey Al-Sheikh didn't care about anything coming back, why is this on pay-per-view? Now, who determines what goes on pay-per-view and what doesn't? That's the network. So that tells me that Turkey Al-Sheikh that's a very high price tag on the licensing fee.
He's going to lose money, Joe.
Yep. It's put him in a position to put it on pay-per-view out of necessity. Now, if he didn't care, he would put this on DAZN without pay-per-view so everyone would see it. He'd put this on ESPN so everyone would see it. But because because it's behind a revenue stream, it's going to limit the number of eyeballs ultimately.
Joe, bottom line is, let me cut it short, Joe. He's going to lose money on this show, okay? Because I bet you if ticket sales are going slow, I guarantee you a pay-per-view is going to be a flop, okay? I'll be surprised if it does over 100,000, okay?
Well, look. Jesus M says this. Coach and Joe, wouldn't Crawford fans travel to LA en masses? Obviously not. Obviously not. So I'm going to ask you this question, Coach. Did he wait too long? Because it's going to be a year since he beat Spence's ass on July 29th. Did he wait too long to get back in the ring?
Of course. You got to strike when the kettle's hot. They forgot about that. Hey, that's a long time ago, man. They forgot about that great win. All the momentum is out. Is out the window.
Yep.
I mean, the tire is flattened. Okay, so yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's not my problem.
Yep.
That's whoever's putting on this event. They're gonna lose their ass, and that's not my problem. I don't. I could give a shit. You know what I mean?
Going back to Raymond Muratalla and Tevin Farmer tying him up. Big Luke, thank you for joining us, Big Luke. We love you, man. Says Coach once told us, choose to get tied up, get low, elbows tight like a ball. But Raymond Muratalla didn't do that, did he?
Nah, man. Every time the guy reached out to grab, he stuck his arms out there to get tied up, to let Farmer tie him up. Yeah, when you're getting close, look, man, especially the guy's going to tie you up, you better practice this. You better, over and over and have the discipline to execute the proper technique. When you get close, the guy's going to reach out to tie you up. So don't reach out to him also, because that's a natural inclination. If you see in fights, as soon as one guy reaches out, the other guy reaches out to two, like the other guy reaches out too, like they want to hug and kiss each other. You got to keep that discipline. You got to keep that discipline to keep the elbows tucked in, so there's nothing to have nothing. So there's nothing for the opponent to grab onto and tie you up. Okay. So you gotta have that. You gotta do it in practice, day in and day out. Practice when you're shadow boxing, when you hit the pads, when you're what do you call it? Sparring's the most important thing. Okay, first you're doing it when you're shadow boxing. Okay, you're working on the technique. You're getting that mindset to keep them elbows tucked in, and you're having your your coach every time he gets close reach out to you, and you're not reaching out back to him. Okay, then you do it in mid work, same thing. Then the ultimate test in the gym is the sparring. You're making sure your guy is not doing those bad habits of getting tied up in the gym, you executing proper technique. Okay. And once you do that, okay, the guy won't tie you up, and you could push him off you. You could push him off you, with your lead forearm, or just, what you do is you take the palm of your, the palm of your gloves and on both of his shoulders and push him off you. You know what I mean? And then you got the space. Once you get the space, you got to get off. Okay, that's that opportunity, that small opportunity, that window to get your, you got that space now. Let your punches go, man. It ain't got to be hard. Just, when you're fighting a guy like Farmer, you focus on the body first, then you go to the head. Okay, you go to the head. He's elusive. He's gonna make you miss. Once he makes you miss, you're gonna get out of rhythm. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be comfortable. Then once he makes you miss, he's gonna smother you and tie you up. That's what happened yesterday. Watch it. So what you want to do is hit the body first, then go back to the head. Muratalla did that in the later rounds. Okay, Robert was telling him to put that pressure, and he started hitting the body first, then going back to the head, and he was catching them more successfully. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? But the main thing is, when Fernando Vargas fought De La Hoya tried to tie him up early on. Vargas didn't let him. He kept them elbows tucked in, and De La Hoya, reached out to grab him, but Vargas didn't reach out to grab him too, so there's nothing for him to grab onto. So Vargas, De La Hoya pretty much was hugging him, and Vargas just pushed him off him because he had his elbows tucked in, and it made it really, really effective for Vargas to for his offense to go on the attack, because De La Hoya couldn't break Vargas's timing and rhythm by tying him up or smothering him. Yeah, but it's all, you got to, when you're fighting a guy like that, Luke, you got to practice in the gym, man. If you're not going to do it in the gym, you ain't going to do it in the fight. And you got to have the coach teach you the proper technique, execution to prevent that shit happening. And you got to learn this shit, man. You got to practice that stuff in the gym all the time, not just when you're getting ready for an opponent. You know what I mean? Especially a southpaw who's slippery, like what's that guy's name? Farmer. It's a skill set. Okay, this is one of many. This is one of many, 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 many skill sets you got to learn. Anyway,
that's right, guys. That's right. No, coach is absolutely right, guys. So want to welcome Alberto to the show, and thank you for hanging with us last night, brother. Really appreciated your support, and thank you for supporting the coach on this day. Salute to you, my friend. And we'll see about that. Yeah, he's a Joe. Please say in Chingao. It's said in a playful nature. I enjoy your colloquialism. colloquialism. Chinga, it's easy for me to say. Thank you so much, Alberto, for joining us today. Oh, Chihuahua. And staying on Muratalla before we go into the main event of the evening, Coach and Joe, is Muratalla world-class level from what you guys have seen?
Oh, yeah, he's world-class, but, you get him with the right opponent, that'll make him look better, okay, execute better. Yeah, and Muratalla can punch, too, okay? Yep. He can punch. He can hurt you, boy, that Muratalla. Oh, yeah, he's world-class level. Don't, just because he had a bad dance part last night and made him look bad, don't make him, a fighter that can't compete on the world-class level. Oh, he can. It's the right opponent. You know what I mean? The right opponent.
And that's it. Thank you, Alberto, for joining us, sir. And I tell you what, let's go to the main event of the evening. We've got 15 minutes left with the coach, hopefully more. But the title of the show, Coach, can Boots Ennis at this time beat Bud Crawford or Vergil Ortiz Jr. at 154 pounds? Your thoughts, sir?
Right now, it's probably, people will probably favor Crawford because of his last performance and everything. You know what I mean? And Boots, to me, he needs seasoning more at this higher level. Okay, he just entered the top of the food chain, but he needs more seasoning at this level to be able to compete with a guy like Crawford. You know what I mean? Because Crawford, he's been at this level years. You know what I mean? You're talking about the undisputed junior welterweight, undisputed lightweight champion. Was he the?
He was the undisputed junior welterweight and undisputed welterweight champion.
Okay.
Now he's trying to become the undisputed 54-pound champion, junior middleweight.
Okay, so you're talking about he's undisputed in two weight divisions. Fought in these Super Bowl events. Boots hasn't, so he needs more. Me personally, I'm just going by my gut. Talent-wise, skill and ability, you can't discount Boots. But hey, man, having the experience under your belt when you fight in these type Super Bowl fights makes a difference. Canelo is a perfect example, man. You know what I mean? I remember him telling that one motherfucker he fought.
Yeah,
I think it was. I can't remember who it was, man. He goes, "Hey, you'll find out the Charlo. It was Charlo. He goes,
yep.
You'll find out the hard way. It's different when you're fighting at this level." I knew that though. I know it's a different level. It's a Super Bowl type of event. He goes, "You'll find out this is different when you're fighting at this level. When mainstream press is out, hundreds of press." 100 press people converge on the fight to cover the fight. Fans are everywhere. The week of the fight. Creating that buzz and excitement at the fight hotel. You know what I mean? Oh, it's a different level, different type of atmosphere. It ain't you're fighting on HBO championship. HBO After Dark. This is beyond HBO championship boxes. When you start hitting it, this is the top of the food chain, man. When you're the fights Canelo fighting, and Crawford just has more experience. He's more seasoned, okay, than this Boots. But hey, things change, okay. He gets more seasoning. He builds his brand up better in Philly. Creates a big fan base where he's doing 20, 25. I don't know how many people that fucking auditorium holds in Philly, but he's creating that big buzz. Oh yeah, man. Hey, he'll be there, man. He's only 27, so yeah. And Crawford still, it showed he's still in this prime. He's at the apex of his career after that fight with Spence. Yeah, so Vergil Ortiz, he's still developing too, man. He, you know what I mean? He's getting all these knockouts. Fights have been easy and all this shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not impressed by all that. It gets fans excited. Oh my God. I got a fucking Carlos Zarate, Alfonso Zamora type fighters where they were just drilling guys left and right. Wilfredo Bazooka Gomez. You know what I mean? But I know, and veterans like Chargan or Trampler know that they want fighters to go the rounds in good fights, good competitive fights, to get them that seasoning they need. And you haven't seen that from fucking Ortiz. I haven't seen him in a fight where, only one when he fought the Mean Machine, Kuvilasquez.
Yeah, Kuvilasquez.
he fought. That was a good fight, but he needs more fights like that to season him more. You know, that quick fight over Delorme. I mean, come on, man. Them are setup fights, man. You know, he didn't learn shit from that fight. So, what I'm saying is he's still green on he's still what do you call it? Wet behind the ears, that Ortiz in having good competitive fights under his belt. You know what I mean?
Yep. We'll know a lot more, guys, after August 10th.
Yeah.
That's when he fights Sergey Boachuk. The
perfect opponent.
Yep.
Perfect opponent. That guy's no defense against Ortiz. Problemo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Guys, when you don't have any defense and you're facing Vergil Ortiz Jr., yeah, buckle up. But he seems durable. He seems like he's going to give, hopefully, Vergil Ortiz some rounds. But we'll see, guys. That's on August 10th in Vegas. I'll tell you what. So sky's the limit right now, though. Very high ceiling for Jaron Ennis. And we look forward to see what Eddie Hearn has in store for him. Eddie Hearn also was in attendance, Shakur Stevenson. And more than likely, it looks like he's going to sign with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom Sport. Apparently, he was dazzled by the turnout and homecoming for Jaron Ennis. He says he wants some of that. He's currently singing the praises of Eddie Hearn as being the best promoter in boxing.
Where is Eddie going to get the money for that motherfucker, man? Come on, man. You know what I mean? Well, where's he going to get the money? Where the zone? Come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, shit. That guy, man. I mean, he's not really appealing. I mean, the money he wants. I mean, I like him. He's, Shakur skill wise. Oh, he's fabulous. But hey, there's got to be an entertaining factor to it if you're going to pay the guy millions of dollars. Okay.
Well, what Eddie Hearn stated yesterday to several media members in attendance, including our brother James from the Boxing Source, he stated he's got a 3-fight plan for Shakur Stevenson. Should he? Now, he says he promises he will get him William Zepeda first, and then Tank Davis, and then Vasyl Lomachenko. How can he guarantee that, Coach?
Well, I can see Zepeda because they both work with Golden Boy. They could come to a, you know what I mean? They could come to yeah. Or unless Oscar makes a move on Borincek, you know what I mean?
From what I've been told, they had a meeting with Shakur's brain trust, and he goes, well, look, that guy wants way too much money to make it beneficial for us. We're not going to furnish William Zepeda and put that fight together unless we get options on his next 3 fights.
Smart.
What does that tell you, Gogue?
Yeah, he's going to have to make that deal with the zone. The zone's going to have to get down with Golden Boy and tell him, let's make this fight, and go from there. Yeah.
So what I've been told is Oscar and Eric are moving on to Dennis Borincek.
Okay.
Zepeda. Yep. Because Shakur is too rich for their blood, apparently.
Borincek could be made, you know what I mean? But he's what? Who's he with? Top Rank or what? Borincek, or he a free agent?
Borincek is with Main Events, and he's managed by the same guys who manage Usyk. What's his name? The same guys who manage Vasyl Lomachenko.
Okay, Igis Klimas?
Igis Klimas, yes. And he's signed with Main Events.
Oh, he's with Kathy, huh?
No, I'm sorry. No, my apologies. Refugio is absolutely correct. It's Tom Loeffler and 360 Promotions. You're absolutely right.
They can make that. Oh, okay, yeah. If they ain't tied to Top Rank, they can make that fight. Yeah, they can make that fight with that Borincek and everything. Yeah, and that's the route I would go, so we could get him a belt. Then you got you have some leverage when you try to make that fight with Shakur if you do a unifier and everything, man. And Golden Boy needs some champions in the stable. They don't have nobody there. They do have a couple. Who they got? I don't know, a few of them, but they don't have They don't have especially it's good to have a marketable Mexican fighter like Zepeda Well, he could be a marketable Mexican fighter because of his all out friendly physical aggressive style. His high volume output, punch output style. You know what I mean? Which Mexican fans, endure. That what do you mean endure? They what do you mean? They attach. It's like a magnet. Okay, when you got a fighter like Zepeda who goes in there, ain't scared to mix it up, always on the attack. Oh, Mexican fans, man, they gravitate to you. Okay, it creates that buzz in a fighter from Mexico when they do that. And all their champions in the past, all the great ones were great warriors, man. They weren't bullshit. Apply the sweet science, man. They want to see guys that fight, that put the combinations together, and Williams of Peta fits the bill. But me, like I said, this guy ain't no easy out. That Barinchik, okay, he's got a very, that European in and out movement, counter punching, orthodox. It's hard to get a good gauge, on what he's doing. It's hard to get a clean shot off on him and everything, man. You know what I mean? So when he's gonna fight, like I said, he's gonna fight that guy. That's gonna be what do you call it? It'll be a tough one. Yeah. That'll be a tough one for Zepeda. That's not a automatic. Okay, it's not an automatic.
No, nothing's automatic at that level, sir.
Yeah.
And once again, so that's the route that I've been told that Golden Boy is gonna go for William Zepeda. We'll see how it plays out. But Medical says this. I'm not so sure about this. It depends on what Golden Boy sees on the road ahead for Ryan Garcia, the troubled career of Ryan Garcia. He says, I can see Ryan fighting Vergil in the future. Both guys are under GBP. Mexicans will support that 100%. Yeah, but Coach, do you think that Golden Boy rolls the dice on Ryan versus Vergil Ortiz when he comes back at 54?
The hotter fight is Haney, the rematch.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. And Devin Haney's already stated that he has no intention of fighting until Ryan comes back because of the big purse that he brings with him.
Yep. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. Well, it looks like we're at the end of the road because honestly, Gogue, the boxing calendar, there's really nothing coming up until August 3rd.
There's no fights next week.
Is going to be Jake Paul versus. Well, there are a lot of fights this weekend. On Friday in Indio, California, it's a return of Alexis Rocha versus Santiago Dominguez.
Okay.
That's at the Fantasy Springs Casino. Yeah, exactly. And then we've got on ESPN Plus on Saturday morning, Junto Nakatani versus Vincent Astrolabio.
Mm-hmm. Is that on ESPN?
That's on ESPN Plus. That could potentially be an opponent or a tough test for Bam Rodriguez in the future.
That motherfucker's good.
Both of them are promoted by Mr. Honda, Tekken Promotions.
That Junto's a good fighter, man. He'll give Bam, because this boy can punch too, and he's tall and rangy. Yeah, that's a tough out for Bam.
Indeed. And then from Tampa, Florida, on DAZN, you got MVP Promotions, Jake Paul versus Mike Perry in the cruiserweight division for 8 rounds. Yeah, Jesus. That's why I'm saying nothing happening until August 3rd. And I'm not even going to mention Joe Joyce versus Derek Chisora.
Who's fighting August 3rd?
That's Terrence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. For Madrimov's WBA Super Junior middleweight title. And then in the co-main event now, it's going to be Andy Ruiz versus Big Baby Jarrell Miller. And then on the undercard of that, Isaac Cruz versus Jose Rayo Valenzuela.
Okay.
And then Dave Morrell Jr. versus Hot Rod Kalachik. And then Jared Anderson versus Martin Bacoli. And then to round out that card, Andy Cruz versus Antonio Moran.
Andy Cruz. Moran's a good little fighter, man. That's a good test for Andy Cruz. I like Moran. Antonio Moran. He's from Mexico City. He's tall, rangy, a veteran. You know, he lost a few fights, but he's gotten better. You know, off those losses. Yeah, he's a good solid test for Cruz. That Moran. Yeah.
Indeed. So that's what we have to look forward to, guys, over the next 2 weeks.
Then they got the Olympics. That's why the Olympics. You know, Olympics is coming up. That nobody gives a shit about, and that's why they ain't doing no boxing.
That's it, guys. Unless you want to look forward to August 24th, Jack Catterall versus Regis Prograis.
In England?
Yep. In the UK. Manchester, England.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then you've got to move all the way to London, DAZN on pay-per-view, September 21st. Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua.
It's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be a great fight. Also,
great fight.
Main event. Anthony Kasachi versus Josh Warrington for Kasachi's IBF Junior lightweight title. That's going to be an excellent fight.
Yeah, Kasachi's the new champion, the IBF champion.
Yep, that's it.
After that, he's got to face his mandatory guy against a guy you'll be hearing about him, Sugar Nunes. This guy's an animal from Mexico. He's a fucking animal. He's I don't know. He's 26-1 with like 26 knockouts, 25. He's a physically in condition, strong, hard hitting Mexican that it's relentless. Oh yeah, he's you never heard of him. Nobody's ever heard of him. But you will be hearing about him, okay? When he's number one ranked contender in the IBF, and he's going to have his mandatory against Kasachi. I've been following this guy for like last 4 years, man, and this guy is an animal. He physical. He's relentless. He's developed better boxing skills his boxing skills have developed over the years. He's a lot more patient and methodical, but when he has to turn that heat on, he turns it on. He's got a great training team of the Montiels of Las Mochas, and man, nobody heard of him, but mark my word, you'll be hearing about him about Sugar Nunes. He's never fought in the States. He won his mandatory against that southpaw guy that Joe Cordina beat last year, and he knocked him out, man. Yeah, he knocked him out. And this guy is just a relentless, physical, in-your-face fighter, especially the back half of the fight when he starts putting that heat on you. Yeah, and Kasachi's going to have Warrington is past his prime. It's a great fight. Two local guys against a former has-been. What's the name? Warrington.
Yep.
Great, perfect first defense for Kasachi. Okay. Warrington gets hit a lot, and this guy is physical. He doesn't have a big knockout record, but he looks to me like he can hit pretty good. I don't know if he's on that shit, but it's pretty good. He hits pretty fucking good, and yeah. But his mandatory, it's could probably be next year against that Sugar Nunes, you'll be hearing about him, Joe. Sugar Nunes from Las Mochas, Mexico.
So Sam says, I know of Eduardo Sugar Nunes.
That's him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a
Mini Mill. Welcome to the show, sir. He says, I think Ryan is too small for Vergil Ortiz.
No, he ain't. No, he ain't. They're the same height. They fought in the amateurs. I seen a tape of Ryan had too much speed for Vergil, but that's amateurs, okay? So different in the pros. Ryan still got that speed, that snap, explosiveness, and everything. But yeah, you don't know what's going on with that kid, man. You don't know. A year from now, that's a long time. You don't know where he's going to be at. You know
Who
what I mean?
knows? He could be competing in the light heavyweight division for all we know in a year.
He'll probably circumvent the rules and come in at 160. To get that advantage.
He'll fight Janabek Ali Manala.
Yeah.
Guys, so that's just about it. I think we've come to the end of the road. Gogue. Look, guys, Jaron Ennis, your final grade, your final verdict on his performance this past Saturday night, sir.
Fucking tune-up, an exhibition. That's all. Get the rust off. That's all. But it was a great first fight for Philly, to come back hometown, 14,000 tickets sold. Hell, man, I'd take that. I'm not complaining. How many motherfuckers in boxing could draw in their hometown like that? Not too many. And it's something to build on. If this motherfucker's smart, he's back in the ring, in November. Bring him back, Eddie. You know what I mean? He's smart. Eddie's smart. He knows he knows if you got a fighter that's hot, you strike when the kettle's hot. Okay? Don Chargan. I never forget that shit about Don. All the lessons I learned from him, man. But anyway, I like Boots. He just needs more seasoning before he fights a guy like Crawford. He needs what do you call it? This fight needs to marinate more. Okay, not just put it right now. Let him marinate 1 or 2 fights. See how it goes, man. Let him develop a bigger fan base in Philly. You know what I mean? Then it means something. Okay. Right now, then Crawford, he's at the apex of his career right now. And you know what they say when you're at the apex of your career? The laws of diminishing returns start sinking in. If you know what that is, that means you start slipping slowly. Like Canelo. Yep. He was the apex of his career when he fought Caleb Plant. But guess what? After that fight, he started slipping. He started getting hit more. That's one sign. He wasn't, you can see he doesn't get off like he used to, you know what I mean? But Canelo, he earned that right to pick and choose, he's right now still the face of boxing. So he's still got that title. He's still got that, what do you call it? The fan base to support him. But a guy like Boots, I'm going by me, man. And Eddie will probably, if he's smart enough, he'll realize it. His boy needs to be seasoned more before he fights a guy like Crawford. Yeah.
Yep, there it is, guys. There it is. And once again, Turkey El Sheikh. Yeah, I love his enthusiasm at the time, like for right now. But look, he's got a lot to learn about the business of boxing. If he doesn't, it's going to be a very expensive lesson for him.
Oh, I've seen it happen before many, many, many times. People come into business, just start spending money, and it doesn't come back, and they leave with the. They leave with a deficit, meaning they lost a lot of money. I see it all the time. This is a hard sport to make money in, man. It's a very, very tough business to make money in, man. Yep. It's a poor man's sport. You know what I mean?
Yep. You've got to know what you're doing, guys. And once again, proof is in the pudding. Has he had yet a pay-per-view in the States that has done over 80,000 purchases? I'll wait.
Who?
Turkey El
Has he? I don't know. Tell me.
No,
I don't know.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
Okay, so his theory of you put on the best fights, fans to come. Well, I guess it ain't happening then. All right.
So before you leave, Coach, we've got a couple questions for you from Jesus M. Thank you for hanging with us, brother. It says, Coach, does Muratalla, does he need more volume and body work? Raymond work on defense.
Look, man, get the right opponent, he'll be fine. You know what I mean? Yeah, one that's not like Farmer that's going to smother you and tie you up, a southpaw that's elusive. He'll be better. He'll be better in this next fight out. Just get the right opponent. That's all. That makes a huge difference. Okay?
Yep, and there it is. 93 Octane asks, hey, let Boot test the waters at 54 with Charles Conwell, both on his own. Would you stick him in with a problematic style matchup like Charles Conwell at 54?
Boots.
Yep.
Man, he just became welterweight champ of the world. Why move up yet, man? Let him unify the belts and everything, man. Don't do something stupid like that. You know what I mean?
So
don't make sense.
Would you send him try to get Norman Jr.? Would you try to do that?
He wants Mario, whoever. I don't even know who the champions are, Joe. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you. It's Mario Vargas, WBC, and Montes Stanonis at WBA, and Norman Jr., WBO.
Honestly, Stanonis for the WBA unifier in Philly in a few fights. I mean, and not in a few fights, in a few months. That would be a hot fight, okay? You got an opponent who's physical, who has a very, very underrated jab, okay? A little bull. Technically sound, though. He's good, that Stanonis, okay? And that he would give Boots a good fight, You have that in Philly. Well, hey man, that makes sense. Especially the motherfucking money you're paying this motherfucker. He needs to be fighting guys like Stanonis. Look, man, certain matchups makes scintillating fights, and Stanonis, you can do commercials on him. Highlights of his career. His explosive knockouts, or just the physical style and nature of the kid, and people will go, man, this is going to be a good fight. Philly, you can't lie to Philly fans, man. You can't tell them you bring in a nobody and tell them it's going to be a great fight, man. You're fucking insult them guys, man. Okay, they know what a good fight is. Philly fans know what a good fight is, and when you got a guy that's physical, aggressive, good technical skills, good jab like Stanonis. Oh man, yeah, this would be a great fight for Boots. It'd be a great test for Boots. This guy right here. And you have him in Philly, this fight would do more than 14,000. Okay. Oh man, that would be a great fight. That's a perfect matchup for Boots' next fight. Especially, he don't need to be fighting motherfuckers like that Avanesyan when he's making $3 million. This is the kind of guy he should be fighting. Is that what's that fucking Stanonis? This is the kind of guy. If he's gonna get paid $3 million, fight motherfuckers like this, and that fight would do great in Philly. And it's a perfect style matchup because he's right there, for Boots.
That presents a much bigger problem now financially, because after receiving $3 million for fighting Avanesyan, he's going to want probably closer to $5 million to face Stanonis.
Joe, what's his minimums on his contract? Okay, that's all you got to know. What is minimum?
3.
His minimums.
3.
That's all. You know what I mean? Fuck all that. He's going to want. Eddie's going to have to sit his ass down with his team saying, hey, man, okay, this is what the fight. You can get your minimum, but you're gonna get some gate percentage of the gate sponsorships and all that. That's how you're gonna get that other money. Ain't no fucking way DAZN is just gonna give him a couple more $1 million. Fuck no, I wouldn't. You got to start. They're really overpaying the motherfucker, man, by $2 million. So let him get his 3, whatever his contract says. Then he drew at the gate. This fight will do better. Get some of that gate money and the sponsorships and all that. That brings whatever how that shit works, man. So that fight would be the best fight, man. And you could write a fucking article on that, Joe. That fight would be the best fight. I would be excited. Joe, I've been in this shit long enough. I smell a good fight. You know what I mean? The Philly fans, you can't lie to them motherfuckers. They're hardcore, ticket buying fans, man. They know what a good matchup is, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. And there it is. And there is Dirk Banks. Welcome to the show, sir. And he goes, Joseph, you should do an open panel. Well, I've tried that, but it's funny. Every time I try to do an open panel, I get cold feet from everyone in the chat. For some reason, they don't like to converse live with me or anyone else who's been in this business for a considerable amount of time. Apparently, they don't like to be corrected or
verbally abused by me.
There it is. But Dirk also says, hey, styles make fights. Boots beats Vergil, but Bud is much tougher. Gogue? Yeah. Your thoughts on that, brother?
I agree. Bud's a multidimensional fighter. He's at the apex of his career. He's been in these Super Bowl type fights. Okay, Boots hasn't. Different level, baby. Like Canelo was telling Charlo, this is a different level, and you'll find out real quick.
So, my question is on the first part of that. Does Boots beat Vergil at this time?
Man, come on, Joe.
Sure about that.
They're different weight divisions, Joe. Come on, man. They're not gonna. It's senseless talking about something like this when a fight ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen, man. I like to think of fights that can happen. Okay, this guy fights in a different weight division, that Ortiz. So you know what I mean. When it's time to come to talk about that fight, when that fight could be made, then we'll talk about it. But that's a long time off, man. You're talking about a guy, Vergil Ortiz. You know what I mean? He's still, to me, he's still developing. all that
Yep,
time off
yep,
he's had and all the injuries he's had. You know what I mean?
yep.
That held his career back. So great kid though, man. You know, a great kid, personable, but he just had some, unfortunate circumstances happen to him that derailed his career temporarily. But that fight, like I said, can Boots beat? You know what I mean? That's the two different weight divisions. Come on, it doesn't make sense talking about it until the time is right. Okay, until Boots is ready to move up, and he got that welterweight division. Now it's time to conquer another weight division. And Vergil Ortiz is the king of the 100 in the king of the junior middleweight division. Okay, then the drum you can start beating the drums and everything, and that fight would do great. The Cowboy Stadium, you know what I mean? If Vergil builds his brand up. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's it. That's it, guys. And look, Alberto, thank you. Thank you so much for saying this. Coach and Big Rick call it like it is. No BS kind of guys, but I will say this. As much as I love Big Rick, who's going to be on the show tomorrow evening, he's in a different level than Coach Gogue. Coach Gogue is on a different level, guys.
Well, look, Rick knows the business real good. Okay, he's on the executive side. The suit and tie. I'm a blue collar guy. I'm in the field. I'm in the fields with my with my lunch pail and hard hat. Putting that work in the gym. Rick understands how this business works. He understands the intricacies and how it works. And guess what? You talk to him tomorrow, he'll tell you the same fucking exact thing. I mean,
that's it, guys. And both gentlemen, look, I will say this about Coach, though. There would be no War Week boxing without Coach Gogue. And I can tell you that right now. Anthony Manzano, Tony, welcome to the show, sir. He says, Coach, as a trainer, when you looked at the fight with Raymond and Farmer, do you think Raimundo was exposed, or was his lack of experience in those championship rounds that caught up to him? That was not a championship fight, sir. That was a 10-round fight. Go ahead, Coach.
It was a bad, it's the style that made him look bad, man. He didn't get exposed. It was just some guys are like that, that give you a difficult time fight night, because you just can't get into rhythm. Your timing's off, but you find a way to win. And that's what Muratalla did. He found a way to win. All right. What did George Benton used to say? Win today, look better tomorrow.
Yeah, win ugly, look good tomorrow.
yeah, win today, look better tomorrow. Yeah, that's what you got to do. As long as you keep winning, baby. You know what I mean?
That's it, guys. And once again, I attribute that terribly uncomfortable performance and fight aesthetic to Thomas Taylor as well. Why on earth did he wait till the 8th round to take away points for excessive holding?
Yeah, the ref has a lot to do with it.
Yep. If he does that at round 4 or 5, we get a different fight and potentially a stoppage from Raimundo Muratalla, because he hurt him in the final round. Looked like he was on the road to getting him out of there. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
So Tony corrects me. He says, I understand it wasn't a championship fight, Joe. I was just saying in those late rounds. Look, that has everything to do with the ref. He wasn't able to close the distance effectively without being wrapped up like an octopus before Thomas Taylor took away points in the 8th. It makes for a completely different fight if he does it in the 4th or the 5th.
He was constantly holding round after round before they took that point away. They should have right off the bat, the first, second round. Hey, next time I'm going to start taking points. And the fight would have been more aesthetically pleasing if that happened. You know what I mean? But he let that holding and grabbing. It was too long, man. Too much. Yeah.
Well, Jesus M points out, he says, Raimundo better get used to that style because he'll see it against Shakur. I don't know about that. That was ugly, guys. I've never seen Shakur Stevenson tie up as much as Devin Farmer last night.
Nah.
Shakur actually has more dog in him than that. Devin Farmer, it was obvious, and I called it that way last night, guys, if you listen back to it. I stated that it was obvious that he was just trying to survive, wasn't doing anything to try and win the fight. Coach Gogue, your thoughts?
Hey, man, first couple rounds I seen it, I'm like, this fight's going to be a fucking dud. When I seen, what's his name, just going in there, started holding a lot, smothering his opponent, really didn't want to do nothing offensively to open up to Muratalla. didn't want to get countered by Muratalla, because he didn't want to open up because he didn't want to get countered by Muratalla's left hook or right hand. I told me, man, this fight's gonna be a dud, man. I'm like, oh, geez. But you have,
Yeah.
you know, in boxing, you have matches like this, man. And you're not
Yep.
looking good, has a rounds go on, but going down the stretch, you got to find a way to win, and that's what Muratalla did. And Robert Garcia was giving him the best advice in the corner, telling him, "Hey, man, you got to start being aggressive. You got to start being physical. You got to start getting mean in there and start putting the pressure on them, okay? And putting them combinations together. All right, don't wait. Don't what do you call it? Don't worry about him countering." Okay. Don't, just go in there and let your punches go. Okay. Quit worrying about him trying to counter. If you get hit by a counter, come back and fire your combinations back at him. That'll
Okay,
neutralize him from countering.
That's it. Guys, listen to the coach. He knows. Hey, do you guys want to end the show on a very, very fun note in which you're going to see Coach Gogue shine? Guys, let's do this for a second. And once again, we don't have anyone at 47 right now to test boots this way. But let's do this. We haven't done this in a while. Coach Gogue, I hope you're down for the next 5 minutes, sir. Here we go.
How we doing, love? It's time for Gogue's mythical matchups. And no, I'm not making a comeback. Oh, you can't afford me, can you?
Thank you, Hitman Ricky Hatton. We appreciate your voice, sir.
Hitman.
But I'll tell you what, the Hitman from Manchester. I love it.
I love the Hitman. Always gave me my money's worth every time I watched him fight. He wanted me to tune the fuck in when he was fighting. When the Hitman was fighting, I tuned the fuck in. I like the Hitman. Man, the fucking fan base, the rabid, enthusiastic fans he had behind him, man. Yeah, the Hitman. He deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, which he rightfully was inducted. The Hitman.
Well, I tell you what, brother. One I'm going to bring up is how would this version of Boots Ennis fare in a mythical matchup against a prime for prime? Well, oh my gosh, his name eludes me now. The Argentine who faced Mayweather twice. What was his name?
Maidana.
Marcos Maidana. How would he fare? How do you see that fight playing out, Coach Gogue?
Right now, Boots is not even in his prime. You know why? He hasn't fought enough good guys to to develop them to get to that level of like Crawford. Crawford's been in his prime the last few years because he's been fighting good competition, but Boots hasn't been fighting these top level guys to be considered in his prime yet. He might be in his prime years, but not in his prime career. Okay, but
indeed,
he's not in his prime, man. And a guy like Maidana would give him a hard fight, man. Because of his awkward, physical, swarming style, punches coming from all angles. Just his roughhouse tactics and everything. You know what I mean? If what's his name, Boots don't hurt him, he's gonna be in for a long night against Maidana. Yeah, that Maidana boy, he's heavy-handed. He could hurt you. Okay, he could hurt you.
I tell you what, that's interesting. I would love to see that. Tony Manzano brings up a mythical matchup: Miguel Cotto versus Bud Crawford at either 40 or 47. Your thoughts, sir?
That's a good fight. Crawford, multidimensional, man. It's hard to fight a guy it's hard to fight a talented fighter, an intelligent fighter like Crawford, who's multidimensional, man. That'd be a hard fight for Miguel Cotto to win. Miguel Cotto, devastating body puncher, devastating body puncher, smart, intelligent. Yeah, I'm going with Crawford. He's multidimensional, okay? He could go back and forth, man, and find find a way to win. Be intelligent, making those adjustments, having more tools in his toolbox, more weapons in his armory. Okay, than Cotto.
I tell you what. Now Tony says this: how about a prime Miguel Cotto at 47 versus Boots Ennis at this time?
Man. Cotto got more experience. Come on, man. I'm always going to go with the guy that's more seasoned than the guy that's hasn't
Yep.
been there yet. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There it is. And last one, guys, Refugio Garcia. Thank you for hanging with the coach, sir. He says, Mean Machine called out Boots on social media before David Avocado fight was made. Well, look. David Avanesyan is signed with Matchroom Sports, and Mean Machine, he's avoided like the plague, and no promoter wants to touch him because he's not a big ticket seller in the States. And he's got heavy hands. He's more risk than reward. Coach, do you see Mean Machine, Igas Kavalyaskis ever participating in a meaningful fight from now until the end of time?
I forgot about it. I didn't even know he was still fighting. You know what I mean? Look, the fight to make for Boots is that, the money he's getting paid. He's a big draw in Philly. Hey, man, let's go with that Stanonis. That makes sense to me. That's me. That's a fight I would want. That's a fight I know that will sell. Okay, but that's me. I'm just going.
That is a tough fight, though, Coach Gogue. How do you see?
Hey,
that
man,
fight
you're getting paid $3 million. You got to beat guys like this if you want to get to that level of Crawford and Canelo and everybody else. Okay.
And so, are you saying
there ain't no easy fights? There ain't no easy fights. You're getting paid this kind of money. You accept the challenge and you take it, man. And if you want to get to the level like Crawford, Canelo, Mayweather, De La Hoya, these are the type of guys you got to beat.
Yep.
And it ain't no easy fight. That Stanonis is solid.
That's right. Have you ever seen in any other era of boxing, Coach, where a fighter expects and demands $3 million but expects an easy touch?
This fucking era is such a fucking joke. Like James Toney said. I was watching a James Toney video. He was at one of these boxing functions, and he was by all these fighters that fight nowadays. He goes, my era was a real era of boxing. Your era is a pussy era. He told all these fighters that these current fighters, the guys that are fighting today, then he showed the fighters, but he told them that all you guys are fighting in a pussy era of fighting. I fought in a real era of fighting, and he, none of them motherfuckers could lie. James Toney fought anybody, anywhere, anytime, anybody, anytime, anywhere, man. Back to back to back to back. That's a bad motherfucker. You'll never see a guy like James Toney again. And he told all them guys, you guys are in a pussy era of boxing. And Boots needs to make this, man. I feel good about this fight, man. It's a perfect matchup for Philly and everything. Is it risk? Of course. This guy's good. But it's the fight I think Boots will win. You know what I mean? He's got to neutralize Stanonis' jab, which is pretty damn good and very underrated. It's consistent round after round. He's going to bust you up in the face if you don't neutralize it. But this is a great fight, man. And he's always coming forward. He's very methodical, but he's aggressive and physical, coming forward. He ain't scared to put his combinations together. But this is a fight that I think Boots will look good. I think Boots could stop him as the rounds go on. And oh my God, if he stops him and wins the belt, unifies the belt, his star gets bigger. Man, it makes sense, man. I like this fight. I like stylistic matchups. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, and not that Mario Barrios bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a reason why Manny Pacquiao believes he can beat Mario Barrios to become the WBC champion at 47.
What a fucking joke boxing is turned. What a fucking joke boxing is turned to. But anyway, Boots, this is the hot fight of 47 is unifying. Dude, you look around, there ain't no other fighters. Brian Norman, he just won the title. Nobody gives a shit about him. But this Stanonis, you know what I mean? He's been around, and if they know boxing and Philly fans know boxing real good, hey man, this is not an easy fight. They're gonna be talking about this fight before the fight actually happens. In the barbershops, at the gyms, in public. Hey man, Boots is in a tough fight, man. This guy's for real. But I think Boots is just so talented. He'll overcome. He'll overcome anything. He'll adapt and overcome any tough moments in the fight if he has any. And I think he can stop him. This guy is tailor made. He's right in front of you. Oh, yeah, man. It'd be a great fight. Great
know
fight
what,
for
brother?
Boots.
I'm gonna reach out and tell Kevin Rooney Jr. exactly what you said tomorrow morning.
If they're smart, they would know that. I don't need to tell, especially Eddie. Eddie's a smart man. He don't need Kevin Rooney to tell him, okay? He's a smart man, and man, that's me, man. I just go, man. I've been in this shit so long. You know what I mean? I know I smell a good matchup. And Philly fans, let me tell you, man, they'll get behind their fighter for a good matchup. I think this fight, they did 14. I think they'll do 17, 18. Yeah. So, but anyway.
Yeah, you know what? It's
That's
hard
me.
to argue with that. But I tell you what, guys, we're 90 minutes. We're 90 minutes in, guys. And I think we've run out of time with the coach. Coach, do you have any parting shots for our listening audience, sir? Because I tell you what, guys, if you must know, that's where Coach Gogue shines. When you start bringing up style matchups,
Yeah, it's not hard, man.
Coach go.
I mean, it's easy for me. I remember, you know, Lou DiBella, Lou, when he was running HBO, right when he quit, you know, we were sitting down at the table at a show Lou was doing in Arkansas. And, you know, I was talking about style matchups and this and that, you know, to everybody on the table that was eating with us, a bunch of HBO people. And they're like, man, you know, hey. And Lou goes, yeah. He goes, it's just, you get the right opponents. You'll make you get the right opponents, great dance partners. You'll get a good matchup. And me and Lou were sitting down on the table talking about, that was like 24 years ago, man. You know, when he was just left HBO. Yeah. Lou DiBella, he was at one time, he was the most powerful person in boxing. People don't know that because he ran HBO and he controlled their $100 million a year budget. That made him, the most powerful man in boxing. Yeah. But Lou was a boxing, he was a boxing fanatic. He loved to go to all the fights, every show they did. He would make sure he was there at the first fight all the way to the end to see the upcoming prospects, to see, you know, any potential future stars he could use in the future. Yeah, Lou was a real boxing guy, man. I mean, and me, yeah, when Lou was there, man, we sit down and talk, and he's a boxing guy, man. He hates his fucking business now. You don't see him actively involved. He thinks it's a fucking joke like I do, but he still has his hands. He still has his hands in it a little, just to, you know what I mean? Just to keep him young, you know, just keep him active, man. You know what I mean? But Lou, yeah, he's a boxing guy, man. And I mean, Eddie too, man. Eddie grew up in boxing with his dad, Barry, and when they in the 90s when they started, man. So Eddie grew up in this shit. He knows what a good matchup is. Eddie developed many stars, hometown stars in England. You know what I mean? All them big fights he put on, all them great fights he put on. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Me, I don't need to tell nobody, man. If they ain't smart enough to realize it, then maybe they need for me to call them and I'll educate them. But anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of promoters and a lot of young matchmakers today could use a good Gogue education, brother. And that's all I'm going to say.
A lot of them. Man, I'm going to tell you this, Joe. A lot of people in the boxing world don't know what the fuck they're doing. I'm just letting you know. They don't understand. Yep. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Anyway. Yeah.
There it is. There it is. There it is, guys.
And that's why you got boxing in the state as it is right now, with very low apathy and a niche sport. And that's why UFC is booming. Dana White knows what he's doing. He's he creates that excitement, that buzz. Okay. And people are forgetting about boxing and they're tuning into MMA. All you got to do is look at the ratings, look at all the mainstream press that UFC gets from ESPN. You don't see that from boxing. Shit. You know what I mean?
And when you get higher pay-per-view numbers from a shit matchup like Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal in boxing, more than Tank Davis versus Frank Martin.
What was the numbers, Joe? What was the numbers?
Oh boy, it was over 325,000.
No fucking way.
Yep.
How much did Tank do?
170,000 max.
And Nick Diaz, Nate, what's the name? Nick Diaz?
Nate Diaz. Yeah.
He did 300,000?
300,000, brother, with Jorge Masvidal in a boxing ring.
Good for him. And he's his own promoter too.
He had a live gate over 1 million as well from over 18,000 fans in Anaheim, California.
Let me ask you this, Joe. How much did they charge for that pay-per-view?
I don't know. I wasn't privy to that. I didn't even care. But the fact that he
Well,
did
Joe,
over
you didn't.
325,000. Go ahead.
Joe, you didn't care, but 325,000 people did.
Yep. That's a very good point, my friend. Very good point. But I tell you what, though.
325. He's one of the
Yeah.
biggest pay-per-view stars in boxing. Him, Jake Paul, and Canelo.
Oh, here it is. Alberto has the. Thank you, Alberto. I appreciate it, my friend. Pay-per-view was $50, $49.99.
So how much revenue? What's that in revenue? I don't know.
I have no idea.
50 times 300. That's 15 million, huh?
Yep.
Plus another million at the gate, 16. So they didn't have to pay the cable outlets half of it, did they?
No. The cable outlets do not charge 50% like they used to back in the good old days.
So he made easily over 5 million, easily 6, 7 after paying the bills.
Yep.
That's why get this. My buddy of mine, he's a boxer from Fairfield, California, right down the road from Stockton. He's known Nate, I don't know, 20 years. He trains, he's trained with him for that long, sparring. Every time Nate has a fight, he makes sure he wants him there. They'll help him out for sparring. So what he did, he goes, when he fought Jake Paul, he made sure he was on that card. And Alan told me he made more money in that fight than all his fights combined. And he made a good 6 figures. In this fight, he probably made the same thing. Because, he really likes Alan and everything. He takes care of him. And Alan is a guy that can't get fights nowhere. But the one that's giving him the opportunity is Jake Paul. Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz. Yeah, Nick Diaz. So, you know what I mean?
Yep. That's it, guys.
And guess what, Joe? He's 38 years old or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? The fight was good. They'll probably do a rematch.
Yep. Because it was a split decision, Gogue.
Oh, that's a rematch. Fuck. That's a rematch. Yeah.
Yep. As Susem says, yep. Alan Sanchez Fairfield.
Yep. Yeah. I know him when he first started boxing, man. A guy, very, tough kid. Nobody's giving him opportunities, but Nick Diaz, or is it Nick or Nate? I can't remember him. Nate. Is it Nate?
Nate Diaz. Yeah.
Yeah, Nate Diaz. I never met him before, man. But my buddy knows him real good. I mean, they're boys, man. They've known each other 20 years. Nate gave him the opportunity to make back-to-back 6-figure paydays. He bought a nice house and all that shit. Good for him. Because I was like, oh man, Nate takes care of you. He goes, oh yeah. I talked to him 2 weeks before the fight. He was driving to go train. Yeah, he told me he was going to go spar with Nate, and he has his own gym in Stockton, California. I'm good for him, man. Good for Nate Diaz. He got his own promotional company, so nobody could, stick their hand in the cookie jar and take what's his. And I'm pretty sure he's got good people behind him and everything. That's, you know what I mean? Joe, man, that's good for them. 300, and there'll probably be a rematch next year. And
because it's a split decision, sir. Probably, who knows, later this year, maybe. It's in Southern California, so the weather's not going to be bad. But Toby, welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for supporting the coach on this day, brother. We love you.
Joe, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a rematch with Jake Paul, man. If he gets another win, you know what I mean?
Yep. Well, if the Mike Tyson fight falls out in November, then you're likely to see that. That's a very good call, Gogue.
I mean, what was the pay-per-view numbers when he fought Jake Paul? I heard they did real fucking good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was approaching 500,000. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. And it was a lot more than $50, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tell you what, guys. And so once again, guys, this is the difference. You get non-attractions demanding multi-million-dollar purses for soft touches, and then you get guys who are willing to bang. Now, look at Alberto, what he just said. I paid for the fight. It was an entertaining scrap. Kind of looked like two drunk uncles fighting, but they gave it their all. That's it. That's it. Look, casual and mainstream fans, they want to see some fight in their fight. And that's it. For guys who aren't talking about, hey, I want to get that bag. Oh, I want to get that bag. No one wants to hear that shit.
Fuck no. If they can't produce at the pay-per-view level or at the gate like them guys did, man, I can see a rematch, man. You know what I mean? Because both guys have a big fan base supporting them and everything. And they did 18,000. I heard the fight was fucking great too. I get me. That's a split decision, man. That's a fucking rematch, man. You got to strike the kettle when it's hot, like Don Chargano says. This fight, the rematch is hot. Split decision, controversy, yeah, man. That fight could sell again, man. Another 300, 350. And Nate, good for Nate, man. He made millions off that fight. You know what I mean? If it was a $15-16 million gross with sponsorships, hey, see, add another million. I don't know what they got. And you eliminate the expenses. Hey, good payday for them guys, man. A good payday for them guys, and good payday for my guy Alan Sanchez. You know what I mean? Good for him, man. In fact, I'm gonna call Alan. I haven't talked to him, man, but I'm gonna congratulate him and everything. Ask him what's going on. So
good for you, man. Good for you. Hopefully, there's another payday ahead of this. And I tell you what. Gogue, it looks like we've come to the end of the road. Any parting shots for your listening audience, sir?
No, just thanks everybody tuning in. We have a lot of people tuning in today, Joe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We did.
All right, thanks for everybody tuning the fuck in. And next week, do we got a show next week, or there's nothing happening?
It's entirely up to you, sir.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But they got the Olympics coming up, and the worst U.S. Olympic boxing team I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Oh boy, only six guys made it, right?
Only 5 fucking males qualified for the.
Oh my gosh! Oh my god!
Yeah, it's a fucking joke. The worst. They got a guy named Jamal Harvey. It's not bad. I like him. I mean, from what I've seen, when he turns pro, he's gonna have to polish up and transfer to the pro game. And Jahaira, the lady fighter. But that's it, man. It's the worst fucking team I've ever seen. This USA Olympic team, and there's no hype. Hey Joe, it's 2 weeks from the Olympics, and there ain't no hype about the Olympic team, about the future stars of boxing. Because it used to mean something, man. Back in the days, I remember, man. I've seen all these Olympic classes, and back in the days when the Olympics were, oh man, all they would do was hype the Olympic class, the next future superstars of boxing. You know what I mean? Now you don't even hear that shit no more. It's a fucking joke.
Especially that it's being held in a place like Paris, France. There's no buzz here stateside.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Paris,
dismal.
France.
Just dismal.
Yeah. But anyway.
Oh, boy. But that's about it, guys. Coach, thank you for your time, brother. Always a great show with you on the air. But I tell you what, guys, and if you missed any part of it, go ahead and rewind. And please hit the like button for your coach. And guys, on behalf of the incomparable Coach James Gogue, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to War Week Boxing with Coach James Gogue. Thank you, everybody, and have a great week, everyone.
Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio with 5-decade fight trainer Coach James Gogue.